Okay, we've got two sets of minutes. We'll start with the ones from October 5th.
I'll make a motion to approve.
No additions, corrections, so motion, I'll second it.
Mike,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes. And then, we met a week later on the 12th. That was a special meeting for appropriation, I believe, for the COVID money.
I didn't have any comments on that, so
That was pretty short and succinct.
pretty straightforward.
I'll make a motion to approve those.
I'll second.
Mike,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes. Jim Dix, we got a presentation to come, but we've got a short report from Jim Dixon, our project construction manager on the pavilion at the park, which is in the wrapping it up phase, so go ahead.
Yeah, we're running masonry veneer right now on the piers. We're in the dry. The roof is 99% complete. Should be wrapping this up in another week to 10 days. We had an electrical guy coming this week to put the lights up. It's all roughed in. And the gutters and downspouts, and that's it. And we'll punch it out after that. Coming along well. We only lost 2 days since August for rain.
Oh, yeah, it's been spectacular.
Counting today. Today was the second day we lost for rain.
So we'll do a punch list probably a couple weeks, you think, maybe?
I would say, yeah, about 10 days, 12 days. Yep. Yeah, it's on budget and on time.
That's why you're here, Jim. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep, thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Okay, we have some guests that do business in the township. Windstream. Doug, are you gonna start?
Yes.
Okay, this is Doug Nellis. I've known him for about 175 years.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. My name, for those that you don't know me, I'm Doug Nellis, and I'm with Windstream. I'm the Director of Field Operations in Ohio, New York, and Beeville, Pennsylvania. And, John Everly actually called me a few weeks ago and said, "Hey, Doug, we'd like you to come to one of our meetings and talk about Windstream." And so that's what I'm here to do tonight. So, and we can take questions afterwards, but feel free to ask, and we'll get on with this. Before I get started, I know there's a concern about service intervals to customers. So Windstream takes good pride in service intervals. So service intervals to customer means, what am I going to get if I call in for service, or when I call in if I have trouble? When are they going to be out? Or when are they going to take care of my issue? And we pride ourselves on that, like I said, and our service intervals probably average in Ohio probably 2 days. So that's pretty good. We have highs where we go out 5-6 days, and we have lows where we're next day. But you know, when we see a spike in service demand for service orders, or if we have, you know, weather, we either bring crews in from other areas, or we work extra hours. So we wanted to put a little map together here for you tonight, and it's a colored one. It's a pretty one, but we tried to, as best as I could, square this up in the township. And I think before I get started, I want you to know something. This area, Auburn Township, Geauga County, is near and dear to me. I was born and raised in Bainbridge, and went to school with this guy over here, and I know this guy here too, and a lot of folks here in this community, and Mr. Phillips as well. And I worked here as a young guy for the phone company, Windstream, and so I really take a lot of pride and know this area pretty well. So when we squared this up in the township here, which I think we basically covered it all. I think you go a little bit north of Stafford in Township. I'm pretty close. And then, way down on Bartholomew, then we took Snyder Road and we squared it off at 44. Basically, everything west of 44 on this map is Windstream territory, okay? And basically, everything east of Snyder and including Stafford and Bartholomew is the township, and basically the area that we service, okay? And there's other competition in this area as well, but this is where we serve. And you know, the purple, like the purple dot here is where we have 1 gig service. Well, 1 gig service, what's that mean? 1 gig service is high-speed fiber internet service, okay? And we started to, you know, build out where you can see in a lot of these areas with the high-speed 1 gig fiber. Now, we also have little pockets here, you know, here and all over, where we only have 15 meg, okay? And there's a lot of areas in between. But we continue to grow and, you know, serve this area. So, any questions about that?
When can we get you, on 44 going north? Because there's a lot of people in Derbyshire, their kids can't, you know, get on the computer and they're dropped off forever. Sunlink's awful.
Okay,
Yeah, that's,
okay,
that kind of is why we're having all these dialogues with
Okay.
you and your companies.
Sure.
We're desperate.
I know people up in my corner of town over there in the northeast that, they have 2 services. They have Suddenlink for the speed, and they have yours for reliability, because Suddenlink has kind of become notorious for failing at customer service.
well, I'm not here to talk about any other providers.
I get that, but we're here to try to do the best for the whole township,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Don't worry, we'll talk about the other providers.
yeah,
You don't have to talk about
yeah.
them.
So,
We need that, 1 gig up by us.
yeah, well, you know, right now, I can tell you that there's nothing in the plan for that area, but I can also tell you that we've invested a large amount of capital dollars year after year in our network, and we continue to grow, and that's what we're about.
Just grow our way.
I'll ask you a question, Doug.
Sure.
Since I'm familiar with this area right here,
Yes.
where I live, that stretch right there
Mm-hmm.
is 50, but up at the end of the street and across the street is 100.
Yeah.
So
So,
what's the,
yeah, so that is how our plant's designed. A little bit closer in footage. Actually, you're hooked up back here. Actually, a little closer in footage gives you the faster speed, the higher speed, the less footage. And down here towards the end, the speed drops off a little bit, and that's how it's designed. That's why you see the difference in color. We also wanted to just kind of showcase here exactly the areas where right now we do have the 1 gig service in the area. Taylor May, Bartholomew, Monroe, Quinn, back in here in Cleveland Drive and all those little drives back in there. Down Quinn towards the end, out on Fort, up here on Taylor May, and then, can't see the writing on here, but,
that's Brookfield right there.
yeah, it's back here. This is Crackle, so
Yeah.
out towards the end of Crackle there. I think that starts back in the township, is that correct? Okay.
Crackles on the border.
Okay.
Hey Doug, quick question.
Yes, sir.
All these places where I'm seeing the purple dots, are those ready to go? I mean, I could call up tomorrow and get service in a short amount of time?
Yes, yes. You could call up and we'd give you a date and we have,
Okay,
we
so
have
those
fiber
are
in that area.
live.
Yes. a little fun fact, you know, what happens in an internet minute, okay? And you'd find me, you know, Facebook, and I'm on that Facebook, or I'm watching YouTube, a deer hunting video or something like that, but, you know, all that happens in a minute, and everyone's trying to do something, on that wheel there, nowadays, so, very important. And, you know, we're just not an internet company, we're voice as well, but with our internet, we also provide, you know, internet security. So, you know, you've got that youngin' at home, and you wanna have some security, you know, you can, there's different plans where you can go on and get security with us and protection, online. And also, streaming. So when you have the high-speed internet, you can stream, and pick TV, shows and TV packages. That's why we went with the high-speed internet, so that you could do that, so that you wouldn't have to have a huge antenna or a dish on the side of your house. We offer YouTube TV right now, and we've been really successful. A lot of our customers like that, and you have to have the internet, obviously, to be able to do that. And you know, I have it at home. I have 50 meg at home where I live, and it plays real well. I have the YouTube TV package, and I don't have any buffering, anything like that. And I like the local channels, the 3, 5, and 8. I like sports, so they're on there too.
Once this streams, it goes through your router then to any device you have in the house?
Right.
So it's not like the cable where you need separate boxes for each and every TV.
Right.
It's wireless.
Yeah. I have it on, you know, I have the actual on my phone, and we have it on the TV, and we have it on the iPad too, and all that, so. But you know, there's obviously there's other streaming packages that you can get, but this is just one that we offer an example.
And they recommend at least 25 meg to stream TV.
And that's what we're about.
So do you think we'll ever, like Auburn Corners and going north, do you think we'll ever have any good internet from anyone? Is there anything is there just not enough people, or what's the reason that we can't get it?
You know, I think that, like I said before, you know, we'll continue to look at areas
Yeah.
and you
Is there
know,
anything people can do to invest in a piece of equipment as a community or something to, because I know there's been a lot of articles about people where their kids can't get their homework and study, and, you know, we've had internet out for several days and cable pretty regularly. And it's not your guys' fault, you're not us, but we'd love to have you there.
Yeah, can you speak, you mentioned there's nothing in the plans right now, just to follow up on Jason's question. Can you speak to the cost of expanding your system?
Well, right now, we've invested millions into bringing fiber to all our exchanges. Is that in our service area?
It's not.
Or is it not?
you live on 44?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
This
I
week-
have businesses on the corner, and we can't run a credit card machine.
Okay.
You know, we pay for the best we can get from, and then our house, and, you know, it's hard to run a business when you can't, you
Yeah.
know, have access. And
I
it's
think you just go to
frustrating.
Derbyshire.
What's that?
I think you just go to Derbyshire.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Derbyshire North is where.
Yeah, yeah, we're on the, because of the boundary there, we're on the boundary with.
You're not on the corner, are you?
No,
No.
we're right there before the corner is kind of the boundary. But we have Derbyshire because
Yeah.
where the road cuts back in, And if you look at the exchange boundary,
Yeah.
which every area, every
Just put in a
exchange.
good word for PJ and myself, we need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would
need some
love
love down
to.
there.
Yeah.
We just turned up about 2,400 households in Bainbridge, which butts up against to this area. Our plan is, we've added over 60,000, or our goal is 60,000 new customers on our fiber this year, and I think we're at 47,000
Yes.
year-to-date right now. I certainly feel for you,
Yeah.
but we are still a regulated company, and, you know, like Doug said, our boundaries, but I look for that to change.
But Southern Link has a monopoly, because that's the only person you can get it from. I mean, it seems like they have a monopoly, they should give you guys a little leeway.
Yeah. Well, I know,
This started with the cable companies,
Right.
and Sunlink is about, I don't know, the fourth, fifth, sixth incarnation of Star Cable, which is where the
Right.
original contract was with,
Mhm.
back in, I'm gonna say late eighties, late eighties.
and there's new technology, that we are, you know, looking into, like 5G and mobile hotspots, you see. A lot of the schools are getting grants for hotspots, so that the kids can, you know, do their homework and so forth.
But there was an article about people in Derbyshire, parts of them could only get Sunlink, and their kids couldn't do their schooling when it was going on, and they had major
Mhm.
problems.
Yeah,
If
that's,
your company decided all of a sudden, and quite honestly, Jason, there isn't the density in that corner of the
Yep.
township, that's the problem, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, I'm sure.
But if you decided all of a sudden, hey, you know, don't worry, up northeast Auburn Township, could you do it, or is there something in the regulations that's not Star Cable, but now
Yeah.
Sunlink's area? How
well,
does that work?
yeah.
We would have to get what you would call, we would have to start with and get a franchise agreement to get to serve out of territory.
Mhm.
And obviously, you know, there's a cost involved in that as well. So, that would be.
Does
that would
Sunlink
be
own the
as far as-
franchise? Do they have a monopoly on it or something? No.
They originally did.
Did, yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Certain corners of the township, this township were served, down by Brookfield was, a company came out of Aurora, the original was maybe, I don't know, Adelphia at one time, I don't know what it was before then. I think Auburn Lakes had its own all along.
Who's their ILEC provider?
I was just gonna say, you know, you do, that area is serviced by, AT&T.
So they probably have,
They have some sort of service, I'm not
They
familiar
would-
with what they
yeah.
offer down there, but
I
that
think
is
we
actually.
tried AT&T and they said we needed a dish, I believe.
Okay.
I don't think they're set up for internet down at that at the time.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, we could do without a dish, they came out, the guys like, oh, you need a dish, we
You
don't wanna
might-
screw a dish to
You
our
know,
house.
you might talk to AT&T, because that is their area like it is, like here is ours.
So you
and
think they can do it without a dish?
I don't know what
It
equipment
might
they
have been a couple of
need.
years ago, but they.
I would call them, because technology changes
Get some
daily,
quickly.
and they could have a 5G, you know, that could service you.
When you mentioned going back to, I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you mentioned going back to your area or their area, does that have anything to do with the old 834 exchange, which you would have been?
Yes.
Okay, that's,
Yes.
so it's still based on all that from
Exactly,
from
yes.
100
Based
years
off
ago.
telco, yeah.
440-543, you know,
Yeah,
708
Jason,
here.
you'd have been 834.
You would have been 834.
Hey Doug, on
Just
the,
like
I'm
you
still,
are.
yeah, we have a.
the lower speed, where you've got the, go back to the, yeah. So all the, let's say the light blue,
Mhm.
is there anything that's being done to ultimately speed those up?
Lunars?
Or are they just kind of,
Yeah, I mean, we do have some projects in the works. I know we've got one going down here on Auburn Road before, Meadows
Last
down
year,
here.
so it shows
That's
across
not-
from us, but not
It's
where
not
on the other
completed
side,
yet.
closer
I
than we do.
think you've probably seen
Well,
the
east side of
construction going on
44.
out front there. We've got something
Last
going on
one,
down there.
over there.
I know we got a couple little projects that are
Yeah,
in the
we
works.
tried to call,
on message, or to approve that area out there by messenger and 422 as well.
Well, I know the question's gonna come up, because two things, because it's basically two complaining groups, ones that can't get any internet at all, ones that have sublink, can't get any service at all,
Yeah.
or, and then, you know, the people who just don't have the speed they need, especially out there working at home, kids doing school projects.
You can tell them that if they're not happy or they're not getting a fast enough speed, that they can go to our website and they can enter their address and put a watch on it. And then as we're deploying new projects, because we have a project called Project Lunar, where we're taking a lot of these lower speeds up to 100 meg through that. And then anyhow, they can go to the website and put in their address, add themselves as a watcher, and then as a project gets either assigned or approved, or they're updated accordingly.
Okay.
You got that in paper somewhere? Do you?
We can get it to you.
I
Yeah,
think,
get a
yeah.
ton, we take a ton of calls here, more now than ever before,
Sure.
obviously.
Mhm.
So if she had something, and we had something here we could refer people to,
Uh-huh,
appreciate that,
yeah,
that'd be good.
no problem. Do you have email or?
Yeah.
Like I said, the 50 meg
I'll
blade,
send it
you know,
to admin
it
at.
serves us perfectly well. I mean, we never, you know, we have four different, half a dozen devices going, and
That's right.
nothing ever, you know, so I mean, it's a good,
Yeah,
good number.
that's what I have too, and I don't have any issues at all.
Okay, so some of our problem is this area, that area.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose that the area is a thing of value.
Mm-hmm.
If your company wanted to serve more the north part of the township,
Right.
there'd have to be compensation between, or an agreement between you and the.
Have you ever heard of like CLEC? That's where a local provider goes into another, like AT&T's territory, and Doug said you have to have an agreement.
Have I heard of it? No, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't, a lot of companies won't cross that line, because once you do that, you open yourselves up to someone coming
Coming into you.
in, plus the cost, because all of, unless it's fiber, all of the, lunar sites, the 100 meg, all of that is distance fed. So your speed is based off of, I think Doug talked about it early, why you have sporadic. Your speed is based off where you're located from where the office or terminal feeds you. So unless you're running fiber, you're gonna have that.
Any other questions?
Not for me, I think that covered
What do you do?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Upload speed, that's, I'm limited, I got about 25 meg coming down, that's fine. I'm limited to about 1.4 going up, which makes video conferencing very questionable. It's not, I might as well be dial-up as far as upload speed goes. Is there anything good that can be done about that?
Possible. Call me when I give you my number,
Sure.
and I'll take a look at your service, see what we can do.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and shame on me, I do this sometimes. This is Debbie Gary. She
This
is,
is all the time.
she is our senior analyst and here at Windstream, and she works very closely with me. And Dick Marty is the local manager for this area, so Dick's technicians are out working in this area. Dick takes calls too from our customers and with issues just like that, so, yeah.
And you know what else I wanted to tell you, when your residents are calling in about, getting higher speeds and so forth, a lot of them don't know that we've upgraded in their area. So when I send you information, I'll give you the number to call, And a lot of our upgrades on the lunar sites, not the fiber, are free upgrades. We'll take them to the 200 meg.
I
if
mean,
we
whatever
can.
information you can get to her that she can respond with, we appreciate that. Yeah, well, honestly, you know, your map's invaluable here because the loudest
Mhm.
cry now is from our corner of town in North. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, we've looked into, we had some discussions with another provider that works more in northern communities that
Mhm.
border Auburn essentially. We just don't have the density here.
Right.
You know, that's why I asked you to speak to the cost of increasing a service area. You need to have customers pay for it.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's how it-
But we base it off of cost per household. So if the total bill, averages, $5,000, there's a magic number there that they build to.
I know a number of people who, are having problems, and said, they'd be willing to pay,
Right.
a premium to be able to get it.
And I can appreciate that.
One other question, one other thing, I attend a lot of county commissioner meetings, and the county commissioners are getting flooded with calls about the service, in this area, not just our trustees, but also the county commissioners.
Yeah, we'll reach out to those folks. I know some other townships too, and I've heard, are having the same issues. We're gonna reach out to those folks and
It'd be great if you
have
have
a
a
form just like this.
And we want them
For
to.
us to do this, it's cost prohibitive if we could
Right.
raise 50,000, 100,000,
Right.
whatever it is, if at least you know what you're up against,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, your commissioners have a big voice, and
Yes.
they are very active, and they get things done, so.
It'd be great if you guys could give a plan of what you need and what the sign up, or what we would need to do in order to get it would be nice.
I
We could
know.
have an idea.
Yeah. I don't know, I don't think we would ask you to pay for our
No.
fiber bill.
Maybe they should in this day and age, it's a different
Yeah.
time,
Well,
when people are working from home.
And that's what Mike was alluding to. That's true. We're hearing that.
And we're-
People say, I'll pay,
Right.
I'll pay some of the infrastructure cost to get it out here.
Yeah.
We're hearing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of people.
I think
working
CERN
from
offered to
home.
pay him for the wiring to get the wire
Yeah.
down the street.
We're actually hearing that.
Well, I have a fiber call tomorrow, I'll bring it up.
Yeah. I mean, now, if you think about how many people work from home and they're saying
Mhm.
office buildings are closing, it's a different,
Right.
Mhm. Maybe the township can get some COVID money for it to do it.
True. And there is COVID money out there,
There is,
so.
and this is an applicable,
And it goes
well, I
to-
don't
to
know
work,
legally if it is, nobody knows any of these.
Right.
What's actually legal and not.
It sounds like a good excuse to me, at least. Be able to
I've
work
had
in
it
the
suggested
school.
to me already that this would be worth looking at.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
Or even if we could do a tax levy to pay for it, who knows, whatever. People would go for internet.
Okay, we need that Jason line tax levy. Anybody else, got a question tonight? All right, thank you. I hope we can
Thank you.
continue discussing
Yeah.
some of these things that have come up, and, we'll,
We'll get back to you.
whatever information
I'll
you
get the information
can get to Nancy. Yeah, we obviously appreciate it.
I had a chance to talk to her a couple of times. Yeah, she told me she got off on fast.
It's always been an issue since I've been doing this,
Phenomenal.
but a lot more now.
Yeah, it's exploded now.
Yep.
Well, thank you again.
All right, Doug?
Yeah, thank you for
Thank you.
having us.
Richard and Debbie, thank you very
Thank you
much.
for having us.
Thank you. I think very informative.
Just in case, and then I'll get that stuff over to Nancy.
And Doug, you're gonna stay for the rest of the meeting, you don't have that far to drive, right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Is this our cord, Debbie?
No, that's ours.
Okay.
Nope, that's
Yeah.
theirs.
Very
Nice
good.
try.
Thank you.
Okay? Let me know how you make out with, after you reach out to AT&T, okay?
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, thanks for coming in.
I have,
Yeah.
good cable system, so.
Okay, yes, you do.
Could you tell me about how many customers do you have around this area?
That would be,
a lot.
that would probably be a tough one.
Okay, I just wondered.
Yeah, really, yeah, I don't have a total number.
Okay,
I can get that for you.
great.
If you
Can I
give me your card.
I don't have one, but I'll give you my contact information.
Perfect.
Used to have them, but.
Or you can call me.
I can do that, okay.
And any other questions you have, I'll be
Excellent.
happy to get that data for you.
Thank
Very good, I just did a whole series
Mhm.
Yeah.
on this part of the county, and how they're
Excellent.
desperate, Troy Township, Parkman Township, I mean, it just
I think I read it.
really
Yes,
good.
yeah, we read it.
Yeah,
I
good.
think I
Hope it'll
did,
do
thank
some
you,
good.
yeah, I'll be
Thank
happy
you.
to answer
Thanks.
any
Great.
questions.
Thanks for your efforts and,
Thank you.
let's see, Chief Phillips is in tonight from the VFD. Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, everyone. Have a safe night.
You too.
Take care, Doug.
Ready for my report, Jay?
Yeah, I think we're ready for your report.
Okay, last year at this time, we had 476 calls. This year, this time, we've got 601. We're up by 125 calls. Our multiple calls or back-to-back calls are currently running at about 19.96%.
Give me that number again, chief.
476 last year, 601 this year,
Thank you.
125, up 125. Back-to-back calls are running at about 19.96%. Also, I have to report that most of you know we got our new engine in a couple months ago. We sold our old engine that was 20 years old for $30,000, and cost us about $3 grand for advertising fees. So the old truck's gone.
Where'd it go?
I went to Kansas.
Did it-
And the only other thing I had was, vote yes for a levy coming up on November 3rd. Please support your fire department. That's it for me.
Okay, well, let's jump into new business, chief, on the squad. Did you manage to find anything or anything concrete?
Well, we called 5 manufacturers that we prefer to deal with, and one of them came back and said they had a demo that they could probably sell us, but they had somebody that had already had a line on it, but they weren't sure they're gonna follow through. And then we had a second one that appeared just yesterday,
Okay.
so we're working on it.
Okay, good. So like I said, that's, we're looking at, the $306,000 for COVID money. One of the things we discussed the last meeting was that, with the multiple calls, we only have 2 squads, so when you start getting back-to-back squads, there's no way to sanitize in between calls, efficiently. So we're trying to use the COVID money to see if we can get a 3rd ambulance. So, but the issue comes in that we have to have the funds established by November 15th, but whatever you purchase has to be purchased by December 30th.
To be in service, yeah.
And in service, so that became a really big factor. I mean, what's our normal, the first squad?
6 months.
6 months to get one, so.
And now everything's slowed down and delayed because shutdowns, and
Yeah.
so everything's taking longer than normal to make it.
I wasn't even sure we'd be able to find one, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
So, okay. No, thanks, chief. We'll probably discuss it, the meeting tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm actually planning on having a report at the next meeting, but on the 16th.
Okay, good.
I think the 20th you guys have to file, right,
Right.
Fred?
Yeah.
By November 20th.
November
Yeah.
20th.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe not in service, but it has to be delivered finalize payments for performance and delivery of goods and or services prior to December 30th, which is problematic because every township in the state's got something coming to them, and we're all making contact with the same
Chasing the
kind
same
of
apple.
vendors. You know, we got a spreadsheet we're working on today, Mike, I'm sure you got a copy over there.
Yeah, I saw that.
And you'll notice a lot of waiting for quotes there. We are going to act on what I think is, it's on the agenda as new business. We've got I think it's pretty reasonable, proposal for a well pump hydrant installation at Adam Hall, so we'll have water there. You know, this is supposed to be for cleaning purposes, and water's pretty good for a cleaning purpose, so we'll get to that later down the list, but a lot of other things on there. Anybody got a question for Chief? Anybody? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, warrants, 6074, Ontario Stone.
Oh, no, that's for the end of the meeting, that's not
Oh,
for Chief.
I'm sorry,
Well, we're
okay.
doing questions for the chief.
Oh, yeah, I apologize.
Yeah, John was in here helping us go over some of this stuff today as well. I guess you guys had an initial thing where you're pretty good for all these cleaning services and whatnot.
Yeah, we're,
Equipment that we talked
pretty,
about.
pretty adept at that right now.
Yeah. But we'll get, we'll look that over, Mike. I mean, we talked about the amount available here, and, short of some big ticket item, that's all we're coming up with, so.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, even if we're looking at, an additional truck, which for the,
I'd like to knock out all these kind of things that are clearly COVID and cleanliness related before
Yeah.
we go to that
right,
route, we're searching for quotes and vendors able to do it for touchless faucets and everything at all the buildings, honestly.
Flushing valves.
Yeah, at all the buildings.
and, I don't know if you've been contacted yet, but, Kenston has contacted Bainbridge and Auburn to say, if you have any monies that you can't spend, I guess we can transfer it over to the schools, because they haven't had any problem whatsoever between all the partitions and all the other stuff they've had to do in the schools. They've already spent a ton of money. So I just want to throw it out there that they are requesting, so if we get toward the end of this and there's anything we haven't been able to spend, we can look at transferring that over.
Well, Chief and I talked earlier today too, there's been a lot of conversation, some of it a little bit more towards outrage, I think, but on the purchase of all these new trucks up at the county because they can't sanitize between drivers. So we talked about the squad, and it's not similar at all. First of all, you have two people,
Plus a patient.
plus a patient, plus you're traveling.
Takes us an hour and a half to decon the squad after we transport a
Right.
positive patient.
And you gotta figure a lot of those patients are gonna be people with underlying health issues that are the most at risk too.
So
Yeah.
I think this is.
And how many truck
I think
drivers-
something like this is way more applicable.
Yeah, how many
than
truck
other
drivers do they
plow
actually have driving these plow trucks?
trucks. So I.
We've
can-
got 30 guys
Yeah.
that are being split up between two squads. So, I mean, that's, that's
Yeah, the
not
cleaning
even-
period is like 300–400% more than it is for a single driver in a snowplow truck.
Right,
So,
yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, I think this
A
applies.
lot of little things to clean around in the back of that squad.
We got those tables from Jogga Lake, those for the, I guess they were targeted for the pavilion,
Mm-hmm.
the old wood ones. I guess appearance-wise, they're probably a little beyond Well, they're probably 50%, you know.
Could be.
Yeah, they're kind of beat, actually, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So we're looking at some that are more composite, more able to
Actually
clean
sanitized?
and sanitize, yeah, that's kind of a big ticket on here.
Plastic wood tables probably the ones that.
Yeah, that's what
Sounds
we're
like a
going
COVID
with.
issue to me.
There's a couple of them up there
Yeah,
already.
right.
There's a couple of them up there already, so that's a bigger ticket.
We can sanitize the existing ones that are match.
Yeah.
In anticipation of doing more meetings up at Adam Hall after this election's over, when they've had a ton of meetings in this last 2-week period anyway. And this applies, we've contacted the prosecutor's office, an audio visual AV system up there underneath the ceiling tiles. The wells on there, that's actually the biggest single item.
Yeah, but like I said, we, gotta have water up at the park if you're
Yeah.
gonna try to clean anything.
Yeah, well, that's,
So, I mean, that seems pretty straightforward.
and the only thing I'm gonna add to that, well, we haven't decided on location, that's gotta go through the health department. And it's based on how many events you have and how many people come to them. And I said, well, we really don't schedule anything up there. We have the one-off picnic.
Yeah, but again, we can go through, KCE,
Well, that, yeah, but we're the owners, and
but they're
you're
still.
right,
the ones using it.
practically, they're the ones that are only ones doing any scheduling.
Right, they're scheduling, and, a
So
lot of,
there's a breaking point, and it sounded like we're probably beneath the threshold where it goes for either health department or Ohio EPA. We'd like to avoid the EPA, per the well person.
yeah.
So, that's underway. I hope we can get a resolution for this in order to get this done by the end of the year. I do think it's time to get, I don't know, Dixon will probably make a recommendation, I think he could, but I think it's time to get on paper and record where all these underground utilities are. Because it's starting to, you got a trench now out to the
Yeah,
pavilion. This will be another electrical trench out to the well. You've got electrical coming up. I think there's a fairly good chance there's gonna be a sanitary sewer going back out at some point in the future. I think we gotta keep track of this stuff, you know.
yeah.
And I mentioned, which will probably be, I think, I'm guessing 5 figures or more, I'm sure, for, if we do all these plumbing fixtures in all the building. And we talked about doing the firehouse too, that's not on her list here.
Yeah,
But
we
that,
we
that,
talked to her
that
about it
should, that
today.
should be added, I don't see it there.
I'll
Oh,
send her an
there,
email tomorrow with the
AVFD,
fixture
okay,
count.
she's got you on there, she's got you on there. And this is, totally not the way this job is intended to be done. Spend money as fast as you can. But, that's what it is.
I think they're trying to do that to stimulate the economy too.
That too, I'm sure.
That's probably, they keep the money going. I agree with you, it's not the right way, but you should be able to order it and not have a time to get it, you know. So,
Everybody's ordering the same stuff, that's the
Everybody's
problem.
Everybody's going through the same vendors.
It would be nice if they gave you, like, we weren't allowed to have employees, you're supposed to use the money, but like, how do you do it if you're not allowed to have employees, you know? We got a little stimulus money, it was tough.
I think we're gonna, TJ, when we're gonna talk to the prosecutor about, or the auditor about the fact that if we couldn't actually get the materials, that we could extend the date?
Well, yeah,
If you could prove that there's not a way to get it?
That would be smart.
we did talk to the auditor, and the money has to be expended, in other words, or the project has to be complete, maybe 99.9% complete, and payment doesn't have to be have been made, we have to have delivery of the product or service prior to December 31st.
Okay, that answers that then.
Do you have to have the complete project delivered, or can just a portion be delivered tonight?
90%, I think he said, yeah.
Well, there's no hard number on that, but I've got to imagine if you're in a situation where you started something like construction or well, and there's delays in getting it done, I don't see how they could just take the money away and say, well, you got half a building or whatever it is that you're.
Yeah, have stock, give us the money back.
I'm thinking of the squad over here, maybe we can just get one tire or something delivered for the rest on, hold.
Well, anyway, that was most of what we had to get to. Mike, if you know, or anybody else has a decent suggestion there. Again, this is the kind of thing we should knock off before we talk about a fire truck or we got a wish list item
Yeah.
there for a
Well, like I said,
vehicle
that's
for the
why we
service
wanna at
garage.
least say, okay, we've got one available, you know, we can't, if we wait till this is done, then it's moot. It's gonna be like, okay, go find us a squad in the next 2 days. So, you know, what do? Do you look first and then have something, or?
I can't think of too many more things that are gonna fit under a COVID umbrella.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that's it, you know, I'd rather, you know, go with, if nothing else, one reel. See, either way, if, you know, if it's something we've got on this list already,
You know what would be nice, and I'm thinking of doing it at the corners, is because of COVID and people not like wanting to be together, if you're at a park and you can make social distancing areas where people can sit and be away from each other instead of so close.
that's not bad to do at a park, you just, I mean,
I don't know if
you
there's
got
one
picnic
for that.
tables, you just spread them apart.
Or if you get more picnic tables and more shelters.
We have plenty of picnic tables.
From,
Yeah, the Bainbridge got, well, it started out at Bainbridge, when they closed Wild Water Kingdom, they gave Bainbridge, I don't know how many picnic tables, hundreds. And then they couldn't use them all, and they gave some to us, so we just had them stacked up too.
Or even if you said just for the money thing, if you could say, if we maybe could get shelters to separate people, that could maybe apply. I don't know.
For example, a lot of floorings being replaced countywide in public buildings. This carpet's 2 years old. I suppose if we wanted to go COVID crazy, we could rip it out and put some flooring here that's easier cleanable. We're not gonna do that. We're talking about doing that over here at the garage, though, I gotta say, for that little, the small areas that are carpeted. They're finding it, surprise, hard to keep them clean, you know, because they got salt in their shoes.
Right.
So there's some talk of that, but there's no area this size over there, these are pretty small. Ceilings, I tried to get one of those covered at Adam Hall that's due to be replaced, and it doesn't look like we're gonna get that one. So we just did that tile floor up there 2-3 years ago. We should have waited. Who knew? Okay. That was pretty much my report too, Mike, so you can,
That was mine also,
yeah,
so.
that's pretty much all we're doing up here. What do you got, Fred?
I've got, your regular reports in front of you, your revenue status, fund status, and appropriation status reports, as well as payment listing of warrants 6064 through 6088, totaling $35,014.85. And then I've got a couple of resolutions requesting supplemental appropriations. Actually, it's just one resolution. Resolution 2020-33, be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Geauga County, Ohio, that the following supplemental appropriations are necessary. $5,000 to Road and Bridge account 2031-330-323, repairs and maintenance. We've had, I wanna say, around $24,000 worth of repairs and maintenance so far this year, and we're just starting into the winter season. $5,000 to road and bridge account 2031-33360 contracted services, and $900 to general fund account 1,690-360 rents and leases. And that's the resolution.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Mike,
Yes.
TJ,
Yes.
that's all I have.
Give me some of my time back there, Fred. A couple things I wanna mention is that letters have gone out to Stafford Road residents between Messenger and 44 about that issue 2 project that we're gonna be doing next year. And it's, the first phase is gonna start with some tree removal. We walked that with Emmerich and I, and is it Rachel from Lake? Is that her name? Is that her name?
Not sure.
She was here for a meeting.
Yeah.
And Shane Hajar, and we walked the entire road, and there's some unfortunate trees that are in the right of way. Basically at the east and west end, some in the middle, but their policy, and I'm gonna it's not a direct quote, but it's pretty close, is they try to leave everything outside of the right of way as it was before. So there's some landscaping that's gonna have to be picked up, some fences. I guess the policy is they pick them out and they leave them carefully, and we can do that, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna leave it with the landowner to reinstall. At the east end by 44, and you can tell telephone poles give away a lot. The road's drifted quite a ways north, and when the base was built up there, that road used to come out on a probably 30-degree angle on a gravel road, and you had to spin your tires to get to 44. So 30 years ago, the Board of Trustees fixed that. Apparently, there was no real surveying done, and it was done certainly to the north side of the right-of-way 30 years ago. Which, take a drive over there, is what I'm telling you. Yeah. We've got some residents that are gonna be kinda harmed by this, but the fact is, the right-of-way's been the right-of-way as long as for quite some time, so.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, well, I don't know what else you can do. I mean, I know in some instances there, can be a little forgiving at it, but
Well,
you so much.
you had a quote up here, which was pretty appropriate, I think, when we first started talking about this in public, was, or about this issue, was that there's some way to do this without going through people's living rooms. I think we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the engineers seem that they wanna work with, and we will be able to work with, I think pretty much all of them, but it's gonna be significant. I don't know, you look at Stafford West there from over by Munn Road to Auburn, and it's dramatic when you take those trees out at first, but within a couple of years, you adjust, and I've lived on state roads where trees go, and freeways are constructed and everything else, and yes, you do adjust, but take a drive out there, it's gonna do the removal, probably late winter, I think is what we're shooting for. So there's that. The zoning commission's public hearing for ZC 2020, the one we initiated up here, pertaining to short-term rentals, will be Thursday, I think it's at 7:30, it's at Adam Hall. Thinks it's 7:30, don't quote me on that, could be at 7.
Is that
It's
Airbnb
seven.
short-term rental?
It refers to short, I got the letter here from the planning commission. Yeah.
And zoning commission meeting was mentioned from 7 to 7:15, that it would take place.
Okay, I apologize for not knowing the time, but I know it's set up for
Yeah.
Thursday. Yeah, there was, well, this is addressed to zoning, and they're gonna read this at their meeting, but, there was a correction, or a recommendation that a word be removed, which I guess was actually is the time, it's actually actual, and that it was kind of a redundant. But they'll go over this at the public hearing for those that are interested. That's the only other thing I had. Chief mentioned the fire levy. We also have a 1 mil road renewal, ask for support there. We've got the quote from Ayers Drilling here, Fred.
I don't believe it's on the table.
Yeah, it was in there.
You have it? Did you see it?
Yeah, it's in this stack here.
Yeah, it would be with the purchase order.
Okay.
Here's the.
Yeah, we need to move on this because, as I said, the health department has some involvement in
Here's the other, yeah.
So yeah, quote from Ayers Well Drilling. Complete. Gonna bring the water, the siting of it is gotta be 50 feet from a building, so we're picturing kind of off the parking lot, halfway between the new pavilion and the old building, existing building. To be determined. A hydrant somewhere in that area between the two buildings. The pressure tank itself, the mechanics of it would be in the room on the southeast corner of the building, which is heated. Use it 9280, 949. And like I said, since it involves some health department, some sign off from them, I'm gonna make a motion that we go with that quote tonight.
Okay, I'll second.
Mike,
Yes.
BJ?
Yes. You mentioned the possibility of the new squad, that's right there in their discussions on what we've been talking about all night.
Yeah.
All right, any questions, anybody? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about whatever that was, when I asked before, but the warrant for Ontario Stone, what was that for the cemetery, or?
No, that's for aggregate.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
All right, we're gonna do an executive session tonight. Anybody else that do? To interview, the purpose is to interview Jason Wine for spot on our commission and board approval.
Yeah, you had to put your fire out.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, he didn't know.
So I'm gonna make a motion to go to executive session.
Second.
It's looking good over there.
Mike,
Yes.
You got good guys and nice guys.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Didn't wanna give them a hard time.